All right, folks. Thank you so much for your patience. Really appreciate it. And greetings to all the esteemed participants. And welcome to our eagerly anticipated webinar. Learn how to win more deals, accelerate project delivery, and more with Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations. And I am thrilled to extend a warm welcome to each of you on behalf of Inogic. My name is Avesh Chaudhary, and I serve as the Corporate Development Manager here. And it's a pleasure to have you join us for this enlightening discussion. Now, before we begin our journey, I kindly request all participants to ensure the microphones are muted to minimize any potential disruptions. And if you have any questions or thoughts during this session, please share them in the chat window. We have also set aside dedicated time at the end of the webinar for an interactive Q&A session to address your inquiries thoroughly. Now, let's kick things off by uncovering what Dynamics 365 project operations is all about and identifying the key beneficiaries of this powerful tool. Now, we'll explore why Dynamics 365 project operations is a game changer for businesses, followed by an in-depth look at the various deployment types you can choose from. Now, to bring these concepts to life, we'll present a compelling use case demonstrating real-world applications. And don't miss out our live demo where you can see the solution in action and participate in an interactive poll to share your thoughts. Finally, we'll open the floor for a Q&A session to address all your burning questions. Now, before we dive into the main topic, let me just give you a glimpse into Inogic's remarkable journey. We're based in the dynamic city of Mumbai, India. Inogic is a leading innovator in the tech world. And as a Microsoft Gold ISV, specializing in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, we have been at the forefront of technology since our founding in 2006 by Ms. Ruhi Sheikh, a renowned former 10 times Microsoft MVP. Over the years, we have grown into a robust team of over 200 professionals, including more than 100 plus skilled consultants in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. Our success is evident in our extensive portfolio, which includes over 200 clients and 1,000 plus completed projects across more than 50 countries. Now, we pride ourselves on delivering customized solutions to a variety of industries such as IT, manufacturing, oil and gas, and finance. Now, our commitment to excellence is showcased by a vast knowledge base reflected in over 5 million blog hits. Additionally, we offer a suite of proprietary apps, including geospatial, SaaS management, user adoption, and productivity tools. Additionally, let me quickly introduce Inogic's range of services and expertise. Inogic's professional services division for Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM and Power Platform is a renowned offshore delivery center. Now, it assists clients by engaging with techno-functional experts to analyze requirements, design process flows, and implement solutions. The division offers outsourced project development with dedicated full-time developers, end-to-end migration from legacy systems to the latest technologies, custom solution implementation, ISV enablement, online migration, and integrations. We also provide a comprehensive range of services across the Power Platform suite of applications to meet growing demands. Now, let's shift our focus to the crux of today's discussion, learn how to win more deals, accelerate project delivery, and more with Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations. Now, in today's dynamic work environment, folks, maximizing productivity is paramount. And at Inogic, we firmly believe in empowering individuals and teams to unlock their full potential. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Ms. Bhavika Bhanushali. who will guide us through the key points of today's discussion, will present the demo as well. So over to you, Bhavika.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Bhavika and I work in the Inogic since past 5 years as a QC engineer, and I'll be your host today. We have an exciting agenda lineup for you, so let's dive in. First, let me give you the quick introduction of what's a Dynamic 365 project operations. So, Dynamic 365 project operation is a cloud-based application offered by Microsoft. You can call it a project management solution. Whether it's a project or resource management or accounting and reporting, it incorporates all the procedures of an organization into one solution. Also, it can be easily integrated with the other Dynamic 365 application, making it an ideal choice for businesses that have already adopted the Dynamic 365 suite. So now the question is, how does this benefit businesses? So it's an ideal solution for a wide range of industries looking to streamline the project management process. So here are some specific type of customer who can significantly benefit from using the project operations like professional services, financial services, healthcare services. So if I give you the example of professional services like the consulting firm or the legal firm, so for the legal firm, they might be use the project as a case or matter. Or if I give you the example of some accounting firm, so they might use the project as a audit or engagement. So depending on the businesses, they can use the Dynamic 365 project operation for various needs. So let's explore why anyone should use it and what capabilities Dynamic 365 project operations offers. So it integrates project management, sales, resource management, and financials into one platform, which enhances efficiency and collaboration. Also, it offers the real time insight for the data driven decisions and scalable features for businesses of all sizes. Also, it includes the capabilities like project planning, resource optimization, time and expense tracking, and the integrated financial management as well. Ensures seamless sales and the project delivery. So along with this, all these capabilities of Dynamic 365 project operation, it also offers us various deployment types to suit the various business needs. Like we have a light deployment, which focuses on basic project management and the time tracking, ideal for the organizations with straightforward project needs and the minimal complexity, whereas the non-stop deployment caters to projects that do not involve inventory management. So it basically focuses on the service-based project where material are not the primary concern. And the large deployment type, that's a stock, which is suitable for the businesses that manage inventory alongside their projects. So before moving to the live demonstration of Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operation, let's discuss the use case to show how this powerful tool can transform the businesses into operations. So let's say there is a company called DSL, Development Services Limited, which provide the services of software development services in different demographic region and uses the project operation to manage their project. And let's say there is a customer called Horizon who is interested in the developing loan processing system from the DSL. So in today's demonstration, we are going to see how DSL manages projects using project operation light deployment. So allow me the few seconds. So I'll share my screen and we can start with the demonstration. So currently I am in the project operation module that has been deployed. So before starting with the end-to-end process, as I mentioned that DSL are providing the services in the different demographic regions, and they are already using the project operation to manage their projects. So they'll be having some base data set up already in the project operation model. So for the different demographic regions, and with their each different pricing, how they can manage that in the project operation. So for that, they'll be having the different organization unit created in the project operation. As you can see over here in the North America, there is a region they have created to provide the services in with the associated cost price, or other regions like Europe or Asia specific. So it can be based on any functional areas or a demographic area. So it depends completely on the businesses. Apart from that, the next step is they are having the resources in their organizations who are working on their project, which can be either the employee or the contractor worker they are hiring from the another vendor. So how they are going managing in the Dynamic 365 project operation. So for that, in the resources area, they have the roles, skills, and the resources where they can define the roles that current organizations having, and the skills they required for each roles, and the resource must have the skills. Those can be created over here. And the in the resources area, they can create the different resources of either a contractor type or either an employee, where they can even specify the time zone that particular resource are working in, and along with that the roles and skills that resource is having, that can be also manageable over here. Apart from that, even they can manage the work hours of the resources over here in the working hour, where can they define the resource working hours. This is nothing but the resource management they are doing in the project operations. The next step is they might be having the pricing set up for the based on either resources or the role wise. So for that, they have the price list that can be created, where they can define the pricing of the either resources or the based on the roles. So for example, we have the cost price list, where they have the role prices set up, where you have to define the role of the resources, and you can associate with respective resourcing unit along with its price. So here they can define the cost rates for the project. For, let's say, if there is any resource with the credit analyst role, so for that they'll be charging the $25. Likewise, they can even define the sales rate as well over here in the US bill rates. So these are some basic entity data that they have already set up before they start the end-to-end process. So let's go back to our use case, that there is a horizon customer who is looking for the services in and interested in the loan processing system from the TSF. So the first step is nothing but to create the lead in the CRM. So it's not the normal sales lead. So for that, if it's a project based lead, they'll be creating the lead with the type as a work based, where they can select over here in the type field as a work based, and the other basic details of the lead they can define over here along with the company details as well. So now if they think that lead is there is a chances of lead to be converted into the opportunity, they can go ahead and qualify the lead and create the opportunity for the same. So let's just go ahead and create the opportunity for the customer horizon, which will eventually create the project based opportunity. So in the normal sales opportunity, we have a ability to add the opportunity line as a product lines. But in the project based opportunity, we have ability to add the project based line as well. So you can see over here the now the opportunity has been created, where the along with the account and contact that has been set up, the contracting unit of the lead, and other few basic details. And if we go and see in the opportunity line, we have the ability to add the project based lines. So let's go ahead and add the project based line for the customer. So as I mentioned that they are interested in the loan processing system. So let's go ahead and create the opportunity line for the same. So let's just give it the name as interested in the loan processing system, where also they can define the customer budget as well. If they have customer mention that they have some specific budget for this particular project, and we have the billing method as a time and material or a fixed price. So if they want to charge the customer based on the number of hours their resource are working for the projects, so they can go ahead and create the line item with the billing method as a time and material, or if they are having it the fixed price resource, can call it as a FTE. So they can go ahead and create the line item with the billing method as a fixed price. So let's just for this use case, we will go ahead with the time and material billing method. So once you create the opportunity line, the next step we have that we will give the code to the customer for this project of implementing the loan processing. So let's just go ahead and create the code where it will eventually copy the opportunity line item on the code and other few basic details of the opportunity that we can see over here in the summary section. So here the basic details has been copied from the opportunity, and we have to select the product price list. That's nothing but our sales price list that we have created for the customer, and we'll just go ahead and save it. And here in the project lines, you can see there has been copied the opportunity line from the opportunity as it is. And in the summary section also, the salesperson have a clear insight of whether the deal is profitable or not, or whether the deal is under the customer budget or it's crossing the customer budget. So that also the salesperson had a clear insight, so they can think of winning the quote as a won or either the loss the deal. So here in the quote line, we have a now as we have sent the quotation to the customer, next up is, so for sending the quotation to the customer, we have to first create the project where we'll give them the estimation cost for the project. So let's go ahead and see how we can manage our project in the project operation module. So for that, here I have set up the basic project over here where we have to specify the name of the project as loan processing system and implementation with the description, the customer detail, what will be the contracting unit for this project. So based on the contracting unit you have set, the corresponding price list will be used to calculate the cost of the project. So once you set up the basic details and the given the estimated start date of the project, next up they have is to create the work breakdown structures where they can define the tasks that needs to be done on this project. So that they can define over here in the task grid. Either they can create the hierarchy of the task as well depending on the project. So for loan processing system implementations, we have some tasks like project initiation, loan application process, credit evaluations, likewise. Along with that, they can define the start and finish date of the project, which will calculate the duration as well. So the after setting up the task that needs to be do for the implementation, the next step is to have assign the resource that are going to work on this project. So for that, they can use the assign to column where they can either directly assign project to the customer to the task, or either create the generic resources. What I meant for the generic resources, if I'm not sure that which resource I need to assign the task to, but I know that for the, let's say, initial application review, I'll be needing some I'm needing the resource with the role as loan processor. So we can just go ahead and create the generic resource requirement where we can give the details like what worker type we need and the what kind of role we need for this particular task along with the resourcing unit. So likewise, either they can go ahead and assign directly to the task, or they can create the generic resource for the task they need to perform. So once the basic task has been set up and once you assign the resource to the task, the next step is to book the resource. So this for this particular task, define project scope and objective, we have directly assigned the task. So this the person we can directly book for, but for the collect application information, we have assigned to the loan officer role. So first we need to find that the which resource is having this particular role which is suitable to work on this particular task. So for that, in the team grid, whenever we assign the task to the any person, or if we create any generic resource, the team requirement records get created, where you can just simply select the record and go ahead and create the generic requirement for the resources, which will eventually find, which will help you to find the resources of that particular role, and you can directly book that resource from the schedule board. So as we are now creating the generic requirement for the role of loan processor, so when you just select the record in the team requirement, and it will create the generic requirement that you can see in the requirement section over here. So just now I have created the requirement for the loan processor. So once the requirement has been created, you need to submit the request so that we can find the suitable resource for the same. So for that, let's go ahead and submit the request, which will create the request record over here. And as you can see, the request record for the loan processor has been created, where we have an option to find the resources for the loan processor role, which will navigate us to the schedule board, where we can find the resources and directly book for that particular task. So let's just go ahead and see the suggested resources. So when it navigated to schedule board, it will apply some filters based on what requirement you had. So if you want any changes in the filters, you can make any changes and search for the resources. So as I said, I want the resources for the resource for with the role loan processor. So they have suggested me the resources which I can directly book from over here in the schedule board. So once you book that particular resource, it will create the booking record, and in the team requirement of your project task, that generic resource will be replaced with the resource you have booked. So now the booking record has been created, which we can see over here for the Shimon. As you can see over here, the Shimon record has been created for the date we requested the bookings. And if we go back to our project, here in the generic resources, now the bookable resource has been updated from generic resource to the resource we have booked for the particular task of loan processor role. So likewise, they can go ahead and book the each resource for the role they required using the schedule board. So once that can be done, the next step is like what task. So in case if we miss any resource assignment, so project manager have the clear visibility of checking the which task has been assigned to which resource or for what time period. So they can go ahead and see in the resource assignment tab, where we have an option to see various roles that we have assigned the task to, along with the what kind of task they have assigned for what period, along with the number of hours required and the date filter as well we have. So here you can either check it by the day or a week or a month likewise. So project, it will help a project manager while assigning the task to the resources. Uh, Also, now if they have assigned some 50 or 60-hour tasks to the resources, so they need to book that resource to be worked on. So if they want to see number of hours they have assigned resource to and how many hours we have booked, that they have the clear visibility over here in the resource reconciliation tab, where you can see for this Shimon use resource, we have assigned the 40 hours of work, and just now we have booked the 40 hours of work for the Shimon. Likewise, for the Tyra Smith, we can see now that it has been assigned with the 96 hours, but they have not yet booked the resource for their task. So they can just simply check over here that which resource has not yet been booked, and then can go ahead and create the booking record for the same. So likewise, they can do. Uh, Now they come as the what the cost of the project. So they can see in the estimation tab, where based on the roles we have assigned tasks to and the contracting unit of the role, it will calculate my cost price and the sales price as well. So what rates we have defined for each role, based on that, it will calculate my cost price and along with the sales price as well that we have defined in the sales price list over here. So it will give them the overview of what will be my estimation cost for developing this project, or you can say implementing this project. So even they can check by the category or by the role, they can have the visibility. So once they have known that what will be my estimation cost, that they can even see in the summary tab here, we can see the estimated labor cost is $13,160 and my expenses cost is $17. So if any kind of expenses occur while working on that project, that they can also even estimate the same over here in the expense estimated tab. Like I've added the meal for the 7 persons. So it also will be calculated from the price list that we have created for the each region, and based on what price we have defined in the cost and sales. From there, it will be calculated over here. Even if there is any product subscription required, or any kind of product has been used while working on the project, that also they can estimate over here. So now we know the what will be the my estimate of the project we can give to the customer. So let's go back to our code, and where we can associate our project with the code line. So here I'm just opening the code where we have the lookup of project where I can associate my project with. So give me a few seconds. So yeah, we can go ahead and again open the line items where we can associate our project with the code, where we have also ability to add the tasks that we require. Like if you don't want to include the expense or a material in your while you are billing it, so that also you have an option to do that. So let's just not include the expense and material for now, and it will, so if I say expense and material no, so it will just add the uh, only the task or a labor cost, you can say, for my quotation. So also we have an option to see what are the chargeable roles we have in the organization currently, so they can just view over here. And in the code line detail, once you associated your project with the code, you can now import the project estimation from the code, which will give you the quote amount that will be billed to the client. So let's just go ahead and import the quote lines from the project estimation tab. So it will nothing but import my all the pricing, sales pricing from the estimation tab to the quote line detail, which will give the total quotable amount to the customer. So now you can see all the time transaction line item has been copied with its associated pricing. So now if we go back to the, so once you're done with the code, the next step is they will go ahead and create the code for the project. So let's just go ahead and create the quotation. let's just go ahead and activate the quote and create the order for the project. So we'll just go ahead and activate the quote. And to create the order, we have to select the closest one, which will eventually create the order record in my system. It will take a few seconds to create the order. So now once the order has been created, you can see the basic detail of the code has been copied from the order and the project baseline also has been copied. Let me just refresh this. So once we have created the order, now the resource will actually start working on the project. So for that, they can go ahead and create the time entries for the same. So for that, we have the ability to create the time entries over here in the time entries entity, where they can just go ahead and click the new and specify the date they are creating time entries for the duration as well. Let's say for the 8 hours duration, and the type of work they are creating time entry that they can select, and the project they are creating time entry for, and if any specific task they are creating time entry. So for our project, let's say we have assigned it to, for our project we have the user called resource called Tyrasmith that we have assigned the project initiation task. So let's say go ahead and create the time entries for the Tyrasmith user. So let me just see the task name. So here you have a defined project scope and objective. So let's select that task and the roles that particular resource is having. So we can just simply create the time entries, which we need to submit for approval to the project manager. So for that, they need to just go ahead and submit the time entries. So once they submit the time entries, it will create the approval record in the system, which will create the which will be approved by the manager. So here you can see the approval record has been created for the ATAS entry, where project manager can either approve the entry or the reject. So let's go ahead and approve the entry. So it will take a few seconds to approve, as there is Power Automate flow runs in the backend that goes and change the status of the entry to approve. So once the entry has been approved, it will create the time and material backlog records over here in the sales area. So where we can see here in the time and material, the record for ATAS has been created, where they can make it ready to invoice or not. So it can be depend like for entire project, either the you can bill the customer once the entire project has been completed, or if you want to bill it on the daily basis, then in that case you can go ahead and make it the entry ready for invoice over here. So whatever entries that has been ready to invoice, the invoice will be created for that particular entries only. So let's just make it ready to invoice. So once you make the entry ready to invoice, let's just go ahead to our code and we can create the invoice for the same, sorry, on the project contract that we have just created. So here we can go ahead and confirm our order and create the invoice for the same. So whatever entries we have approved for be ready for invoice, the invoice will be created for those amount only. And likewise, once they so when the resource keep adding on the time entries and get approved from the project manager, the invoice will you can go ahead and create the invoice. Even on the project, we can once that task has been completed, like we have just created the 8 hours entry for this particular task, so you can see now that task has been strike out. So likewise, the resource who is working on the each task, once that task has been completed, the each task will be strike out. Also, the project manager has the ability to see the status of the tasks that resources are working on by checking in the tracking tab, where they can keep on eye of the each task, where you can see over here just now we have created the entries of 8 tasks that has been completed by Tyra Smith users. So you can see over here in the percentage completed, they are showing it that this particular task has been completed 100% and the overall task has been completed by 15%. So likewise, the project manager can keep the track of it. Also, they can view the overall project. They can view the overall project management over here in the practice management dashboard, where they can see that where they can compare their costing or a gross margin by the current month or prior month over here by changing it. Also, even they have ability to sales. So even they can use this dashboard, or they can might be create the Power BI report as well based on their requirements. So this was the basic end-to-end process for the use case that we have considered. So we'll so give me just few seconds to share my screen. So now, so that was it for demonstration. So we will now move to the next part for the webinar. Please stay tuned. And if you have any question related to demo or a need further clarification, feel free to ask during the demo. So I kindly request all you to participate in the poll that we will put in the chat window. It will provide for the today's webinar, as this will allow us to enhance and improve our future sessions. So I'll kindly request you and to go ahead and go ahead on and give the poll. Also, we are now open for any Q&A. So if you have any question, you can put it on the chat window.
Thank you so much, guys, for participating in the poll. And we have one query from Vaibhav. Uh, Can you please explain more about the schedule board and how the time of the resources are calculated and about the task to how you are inputting the task in the system? Bhavika, if you can just shed some light on this, please.
Okay, so we have a question from Vaibhav saying, can you please explain more about the schedule board and how the time of the resources are calculated, and about the task too, how you are inputting the task in the system. So yeah, for the schedule board, so here when you are creating any requirement for the resources by saying by adding the, okay, let me just open the project and I can give you the idea of it. So over here, so where either we are just directly assigning the task, or okay, let me just first give you the idea of how I have added the task over here. So it's just a simple, you have to add over here and saying the task. So likewise, if you want to add the main task, that you can add over here and mark it as a promote subtask. So it will create the main task. And if I want to create any subtask under this main task, so over here I can add just one more task saying as subtask, and you can mark it as a make a subtask. So it will create the hierarchy. So likewise, you can create the task over here, and with the duration over here, you can specify. Like if I say this particular task needs to be start on, let's say this is completed on 6. So let's say if it start from the 7 August, it's of 9th month. So let's say 7. Okay, 9th. So it also considered their holidays. So it just converted their date to the Monday. So likewise, when you add, you can add over here the hierarchy of the task along with the start and end date. And once you assign that task to the resource or book the generic resource, it will calculate your effort. So let me just quickly select some resource over here. And based on the working hours that we have defined in the resource, based on that it will give you the effort. So if your this particular resource is having the working hours of 8 and I have booked it for 1 day, so it has calculated my effort as well, 8 hours. And for booking it into schedule board, so for the direct resource you can even book it from here, like in the resource assignment. You can see that it has been in the resource reconciliation, we can see that this particular resource has been assigned of this much task, but they have the access booking of 8 tasks. Like here, let me just change the time scale to the day. So here we can see on the 24/7, this particular resource has been assigned 8 tasks of work. So he has not yet been booked. So here you can just directly go ahead and create the booking, which will create your booking extension of 8 tasks. So here you can book it for the 8 tasks, or from the schedule board itself. Here, when we create the new resource requirement, it appears over here in the open requirements, which you can even drag drop and select the resource over here by finding, if you want, like for any open requirement, if I want to book the Bob Kozak, so I can just simply go and select the drag and drop the requirement and book it. Or either you can directly filter out the records and say this particular resource I need to book for this particular time period. So let's say for Bob, I want to book it for any task for any project. So I can just simply say book, select the requirements you are creating, booking that particular resource for. Let's say for this particular project, I'm booking the start date, end date of the booking, and the duration you want the booking to be, so that you can specify over here and you can directly book it. So there are various ways you can book. Even you can go ahead with the booking entity where you can directly book over here. So even if I go to the booking, even I can directly create from here as well by specifying the start date, end date, or the duration and the resource you are booking for the booking status as well. I hope I have given you the idea of how the should we can book the resource for and the how to enter the task. If you have still any question, you can ask. Can you please create a new resource? Yes. Yeah, I'll show how we can create the resource over here. So in the resource area, you have to just simply say new, where you can select the resource type. So it can be either user or a contact in your system, other, or it can be either account also in case if you are adding the resource from the vendor, like if you're having any resource that has been type vendor, so you can add as a resource type account as well. And other the type you are seeing over here in the equipment, crew, facility, those are supported in the field service. So for the project operation, we can either select the resource type as user, contact, or a account. So likewise, if you say user, so for what user resource you are having, that you can select over here in the list, and what type of worker you are creating for. As I said, you can even hire the resource from the other vendor. So in that case, you can select the contractor, worker, or an employee as well. So let's create one resource for say contact. I'm selecting some random contact of say, let's say Abraham, and you can select the type of worker, let's say employee. The name will be auto populated, and the time zone also you can specify over here that resource are in. So let's select central time zone only. So once you give these basic details, it will give you the ability to add the roles and skills that particular resource is holding, so that you can add in the project service tab. So here in the project service tab, you can add the skills that you have created in the skill using the skills entity and the associated over here. So let's say like analytical skills, and even you can give the rating value as well for that particular skills, like if that resource is having the excellent knowledge of the analytical skills, so that you can create over here. So likewise, you can associate it multiple skills and the role that you can associate it that particular resource with. So roles also we have to prior create in the roles entity, and then you can just go ahead and select over here the roles that this particular resource is holding. So for that, let's say any role like finance officer, then just you have to simply give it the name. And when if it can be chances that the one resource is having the multiple roles in their organization. So for that, if any specific role you want to set as a default, that also you have the ability to do that. So let's say this is the default role for this particular user. So in case when there is a requirement and you have not specified the which role you want this resource for, so they will consider the role that has been defaulted, and according to that, they will give the costing for that particular resource. So also they have the work hours that you can set over here. So either you can directly create the new working hours, or also if all the resources are having the same working hours in your organizations, so even they have a ability to apply the calendar template that will eventually make the working hours of all the resources same. Like if I show you the calendar template that we have over here. So in the calendar template, we have to just give the template resources. So I can do for one resource, I can set my working hours and select that resource over here as a template resource. And again, just go back to the resources. And if I want to set all resources with the same working hours, I can just simply select the resource and say set calendar and select my template, which will set the working hours for same as the calendar template for all these resources. So this is the basic setup that resource needs to be have. I hope I have given the idea of how the resource can be created. anything else. If anyone having any other questions, they may can ask. When I'm creating resource, the working hours are getting selected for 24 hours instead of 8 hours. I need to create a calendar templates. Yeah, you can either modify the working hours of resource, or you can getting select working hours are getting selected for 24 hours. Even on the project template project, you can see there is a field called hours per day. So you can check over here and make sure that it has been selected 8 hours. So might be will be having over here 24 hours. That can be one of the reason. Need to drop off things. Yeah, thank you for joining, Lulu. And thank you for answering on the question. Yeah, thanks, Weber, for asking the insightful question.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Really appreciate your time. Now, we have reached the end of our, I would call it as an insightful journey today. So I hope you found this session as enriching and engaging as we intended. Now, as we conclude, I'd like to leave you with a few key takeaways. Now, Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations is not just a tool, it's a catalyst for transformation, designed to help you win more deals and accelerate your project delivery. Now, the real world use cases and live demo we explored today are just the beginning of, what you can achieve with this powerful solution. Now, remember the success of any project lies in the details, the tools you use, and the partner you choose. And here at Inogic, we are committed to being your trusted partner in this journey of innovation and excellence. Now, before we part ways, I want to tell you more about our services at Inogic. We provide a comprehensive suite of services designed to meet diverse business needs. There's techno-functional consulting services, then there is development services and expertise, then there's power platform expertise and AI solutions. Now, our experienced consultant work closely with you to integrate dynamic CRM modules, ensuring they are customized to meet your specific business requirements. Now, also leveraging our deep knowledge of the Microsoft ecosystem, we offer tailored solutions for integration, data migration, implementation, and custom development to fit your unique needs. And we utilize the Power Platform to drive app development, automate business process, and gain actionable insights through advanced data analytics. And by harnessing Azure OpenAI and Copilot, we create innovative AI solutions that optimize and streamline your core business processes. Now, in addition to our offerings, we provide flexible engagement models to suit various project requirements. So there is time and material, there is dedicated FTA team, and offshore delivery center. Now, when we talk about time and material, it's basically you pay based on the time and resources invested. So it's kind of similar to contracting specialized services. A dedicated FTE team, one can benefit from a dedicated team of experts working exclusively on your projects, avoiding the overhead of traditional recruitment. Now, offshore delivery center, basically you utilize our cost-effective offshore delivery center in Mumbai for high quality service without compromising on efficiency, optimizing resource use, and enhancing operational agility. Now, I want to thank each of you for your active participation and thoughtful questions. Your engagement is what made this webinar truly special. Now, if you have any further questions or would like to delve deeper into any of the topics discussed, feel free to reach out to us at crm@inogic.com. And just to let you know, we are here to support you every step of the way. So once again, on behalf of Inogic and our entire team, we thank you for joining, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future webinars and helping you unlock new levels of success with Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations. Till then, stay inspired, stay innovative, and until next time, take care. Thank you so much, guys.